Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Andrew DeStefano from Putnam County Crime Analysis by way of John Jay College of Criminal Justice. The reason why I have that opening imprimatur each time I make a video is because my two professors who conduct my peer review for my projects, they get copies of all the videos. It's an account I set up for school, so just so that they know that there's no uh, that this is not connected to school. Now, I'm going to talk about real quick about the 2017 sheriff race and what happened. If you don't want to watch it, you don't want to know, I'd advise that I'd ask that you click off right now. Um, Essentially, because I've had a number of people ask me recently. I don't know why. Maybe because the sheriff is up for re-election next year. I don't know, or election. Um, but I was asked a number of times recently why. What happened in 2017? Why wasn't I allowed to be on the ballot? Was there a problem? And I was asked very recently. I was asked at the last Trump rally, which was just after Election Day, and I decided, you know what? Let me do a quick video on it. So essentially, you need to become to get on the sheriff ballot as on the Republican Party. You need on the Republican line. You need 1,000 Republican signatures. We obtained, me and my team, we obtained 1,517 Republican signatures. We went through every single signature. Every single signature was perfect. We had to make sure that there was no way that they could knock us off the ballot. Now, at this time, I'm going to be posting a copy of the designating petition. This is what you go around and you get door to door, or when you're standing in front of supermarkets or whatever. And I would ask, this is where you put you get your the names of the voters and the addresses and importantly their signature. But I'm asking you to look at the bottom, the witness identification information section, which I highlighted in orange. And essentially, the witness identification information section asks simply for the town and the county of the witness that's going around getting the signatures. Now, on we did not on about 600 of these signatures on 600 of these signatures we did not insert the witness identification information section. We didn't fill it out. We did not put the town and the county. The reason why I didn't put town and county here is because legally I did not have to, and that's a fact. So at this time, I'm going to ask you to look at the second document, which I have, and that document is page 29 of the election law. Page 29, as it existed in 2017, is probably different now, but it addresses the witness identification information section and the guidelines and the regulations regarding the witness ID line. So I'm looking at one sentence on that rule. This is a quote. The appellate division has reiterated that where the witness failed to provide their town or city of residence, such an error is not a fatal defect. It's that simple. I'll read it again. The appellate division has reiterated that where the witness failed to provide their town or city of residence, such an error is not a fatal defect. So, in other words, I did not have to fill out the witness identification information section. If I had submitted petitions and the witness ID line was not filled in, that petition is good. That petition is good. Okay. Now I'm going to refer to the next document, which is the matter of Berkowitz v. Harrington. And I'd ask that you look at one sentence in there. Quote, we conclude that the failure of the subscribing witness to include the town or city and the county in the witness identification information section of the petition is insufficient to warrant invalidation of the petition. I'll read it again. We conclude that the failure of the subscribing witness to include the town or city and the county in the witness identification information section of the petition is insufficient to warrant invalidation of the petition. This is the controlling case. This is the precedent case for the rule that says you do not have to fill in the witness identification information section, which calls for town and county. This case controls that. So I did not fill in the witness ID line because I didn't have to. Okay. Now, if that's not enough for you, let's go to the next document I'm going to put up there. And it involves the Election Law Reform Act of 1992, which became effective January 1st, 1993. Requires only that a attesting witness furnish a residence, and entirely eliminated any requirement for the inclusion in the statement of witness of the town or city or other political subdivision where the witness resides. This was 1993. The election was in 2017. So as of the day of the election, you haven't had to fill in the witness ID line for 24 years. Okay? 24 years. So there's another case. We have more evidence here, and it's the matter of Barrett v. Brodsky. And it's the same thing. It lays out the Election Law Reform Act of 1992. The precedent case behind the Election Law Reform Act was Barrett v. Brodsky. That document is also posted. Now, what happened was two individuals, two groups, filed challenges against my petitions. The Putnam County Democrat Committee, which is common, they typically do that, and also a gentleman by the name of Bob Buckley. The Buckley challenge was dismissed, and the Putnam County Democrat Committee challenge was upheld, despite the fact that Mr. Buckley's challenge essentially mirrored, almost line for line, the Democrat challenge. So why the Buckley challenge was thrown out and the Democrat challenge was upheld, I can only speculate, which I'm not going to do. I only decided I'm going to show documents tonight. So what happened was the Board of Elections invalidated 600 of my signatures. 600 because the witness ID line wasn't filled out. And I just showed you I didn't fill it out. I didn't have to fill it out. And I hadn't had to fill it out for 24 years. And yet they still threw them out. So I filed what's called an Article 78. It's essentially a lawsuit against the municipality to change the decision. I filed my lawsuit. I filed it timely. It was timely filed. It was filed on time. However, the election law is very time sensitive. You have 24 hours to serve the other side, to serve the Board of Elections, and I had till midnight that night to serve the Board of Elections. And service is essentially just an email. That's all it is. But a judge has to sign off on it. The judge got my papers. The Putnam County judge got my papers, got my legal case, and he then disappeared for the next 4 days. He literally disappeared with my papers for 4 days. So he destroyed my campaign when he did that, and that wasn't an accident. He did, it was done. It was done deliberately. He knew what he was doing. So when on day number 4, after day number 4, I called up the chief judge of the 9th and 10th Judicial District, Judge Schenkman, because I knew Judge Schenkman did not have a lot of respect for Putnam County when it comes to judges. And I called him up. His office was not happy. That's what was going on. I'm not going to tell you what they said, but they were not happy. He sent a Supreme Court judge up to Putnam County to do Putnam County's work. And he was very upset when he got here. He explained it to us in the back in his chambers. He brought everybody in the back into his back chambers, and then he explained it to us. And he also explained that he was going to take the case. He took the case. He went through it. He reinstated all 600 signatures. He reinstated all 600 signatures. So what does that tell you? That tells you those signatures never should have been invalidated in the first place. The whole thing was a scam to get me into court where this judge was waiting for my papers so he could disappear with them. And then they could just say, oh, well, we weren't served. So the judge ruled that I deserved to be on the ballot. Put him back on the ballot. At that time, they shouldn't have fought it. I should have been allowed to stay on the ballot. However, This is Putnam County. They had to protect a very weak and damaged incumbent, and they were going to do it on despite the fact that my family's going to get hurt, and that didn't seem to matter to several people, including a couple of friends that I consider friends, but I had to reassess. Um, so I'm going to post the next document. It is the headline of the Putnam County Examiner at that time. DeStefano ordered back on ballot by judge. Once the judge made that ruling, they should have left it alone. I should have been allowed to stand. However, 17 minutes later, the county filed an appeal. They filed an appeal. And what do you think the appeal was based upon? It was already pre-written. Okay. What do you think the appeal was based upon? Do you think the appeal was based upon their defense of their decision to invalidate 600 signatures? No, they never even mentioned it. Do you know what their appeal was based upon? We were served late. So if you need any more evidence as to whether or not that was a scam, there you go. So unfortunately, they filed their appeal. Second Department in Brooklyn is very, very procedural. They don't care if the judge committed a crime or not. All they want to know is, did you serve the Board of Elections? Did you serve the plaintiff? Yes or no. They don't care about the reason. And obviously the answer is no. So I lost the appeal. I then took it to the New York State Court of Appeals. I knew there wasn't really much of a chance of even getting heard. I thought they might because of the judicial misconduct that was clearly committed, but they didn't hear any election law cases that day. None. There was 13 cases that day. They heard none of them. So at that point, my campaign was destroyed by these people. We decided as a team, you know what? Let's tell people that we're running a write-in campaign. We're not going to campaign. We're not going to spend any money, but let's tell people we're doing a write-in campaign and ask people to write our names in and write my name in. And that's what they did. And as a result, I got about almost 500 signatures, 500 votes on a write-in in a campaign where I didn't spend a dime and I didn't knock on a single door. That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong support. So, of course, the incumbent, when he lost by 320 votes and I got 500 write-ins, Putnam County math, some people with low IQ tried to claim that I cost Don Smith the election. So in other words, Don Smith was entitled to be the sheriff. That's how much entitlement exists in this county. He is entitled to be the sheriff, and I took it away from him when I tend to think he took it away from me. I don't cost anybody anything when it comes to law enforcement. I'm a retired New York City police captain, a precinct commander, and I have right on my wall here, right here, I have a wall full of educational achievements, degrees, master's degrees, studying on the PhD level for the last 10 years, postgraduate certificates, international and national certification in CEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. Very, very tough to get. Took me a year studying that. And so my education is current. All right. So because that's very important to keep your education important. And the education is advanced crime analysis, problem-oriented policing, evidence-based policing. That's what I do. And I'll compare my knowledge against anybody in this county for sure. That goes without saying. So what happened was, like I said, certain people blamed me for costing Don Smith the election, which I will say is very, very offensive. But let's go with that offensive narrative for a second. I cost him the election. I cost him votes. My name wasn't even on the ballot. My name was not on the ballot. So how did I cost anybody anything? People went into the poll. They went there to write my name in. Unless you can tell me that someone, instead of filling in the little circle next to Don Smith's name, they just happened to think up the name Andrew DeStefano and then just happened to write it in. I mean, that's a pretty absurd theory, but that's what you'd have to believe if you think I cost Don Smith the election. I didn't cost anybody anything. You can't give me the name and address of one person who went into the voting booth, the proverbial voting booth, saying, you know what? Instead of filling in the little circle next to Don Smith's name, I think I'll just write in the name Andrew DiStefano. It didn't happen. You can't give me an example of one person that happened to. Bottom line is, I have support in this county, and that's why I got 500 write-in votes, 497 to be exact. So all I could tell you is, if you believe that I cost Don Smith the election based on these facts, then I mean, what can I tell you? You're an idiot. You really are stupid, because it's kind of a silly theory. But in any event, that's what happened to me in 2017. I'm long past it now. I'm in a good place. I wanted to straighten it out because there were some people that are asking me, what happened? Why wasn't I put on the ballot? Why didn't I get on the ballot if I had enough signatures? That's what happened. Okay. People ask me, why didn't you get a lawyer? And what is a lawyer going to do at that point? No lawyer can overcome corruption of the process. No lawyer can overcome corruption of the process. And that's exactly what that was. That was nothing else. I do remember when the gentleman came out, the court clerk came out of the New York State Court of Appeals up in Albany, and he announced, the Court of Appeals will hear no election law cases that day. There were 13. Everybody started breaking up. I went up to the Putnam County Democrat chair, Jim Borkowski. I shook his hand. Congratulations. He won, even though he had nothing to do with it. It was my own people that hurt me. My own people. But I congratulated him. I'll see you down below. And the decision had just come in like 45 seconds ago. His phone starts buzzing, and he looks at it, and he goes, "It's Bob Buckley." And I said, "Really? Are you friends with him?" He's like, "No." I said, "Answer the phone." So he answers the phone. And I could hear Bob's voice, and listen, Bob is Bob. I get along with him fine. Everything's good. But he called him up to thank him for whatever role he thinks that the Democrat Party played in helping to destroy the campaign of a fellow Republican. And yet there's still people in this county who want to talk to me about loyalty to the Republican Party. Listen, I'm not without a sense of humor, but, please don't talk to me about that. It's not, this wasn't a funny time. What was done to me wasn't funny. And all these documents back it up. But as I said, listen, I'm in a good place. I just wanted to straighten it out because I've been asked recently about it, and I don't know why. And the last time was by two people at the, it wasn't at the last Trump rally. It was at the next to last Trump rally. And so I hope I explained what happened, and that's exactly what happened. Again, I don't care how anyone feels. I don't care how you feel. Just what do the documents say? Don't tell me what you think. Tell me what the documents say. Because unfortunately, in this county, there's one last point. In this county, there seems to be this affliction going around that is afflicting the very upper echelons of the New York City Police Department. And it's called the good guy syndrome. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have integrity or what he did has no integrity. He's a good guy. It doesn't matter if the judge disappeared with your legal papers for 4 days. He's a good guy. It doesn't matter if one of the veteran services coordinators is campaigning for the incumbent right out of his veterans campaign office paid for by county funds. He's a good guy. I mean, this is what I heard. And let me tell you something. 1 or 2 people wrote that on Facebook, and I didn't forget it. How dare you attack them? All I did was tell the truth. I mean, these documents tell the truth. So, pretty sad. In any event, this has been Andrew DiStefano from Putnam County Crime Analysis. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. That's what tonight is. Going to bed. And I hope you enjoyed. Have a great night. God bless.